This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Reporting tonight from NBC News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. America's schools and crime on the streets, two of the most difficult challenges that we face in this country. And today, President Bush offered a bold new approach for one, a hard-line approach for the other. NBC John Cochran is at the White House tonight, Andrea Mitchell on Capitol Hill. And John, let's begin with you on that education proposal.
Tom, the president is trying to earn the title he set his eyes on during the '88 presidential campaign, the education president.
The president wants to regain the momentum without spending any more money.
And dollar bills don't educate students.
But Bush does support a new way of encouraging better performance in 5 subjects: math, science, English, history, and geography. The president wants to offer voluntary national tests on those subjects to students in the 4th, 8th, and 12th grades.
These American Achievement Tests will tell parents and educators, politicians and employers, just how well our schools are doing.
These national tests, the first ever, would not be used to punish some schools by withholding funds from those that do badly. But the president does want to give parents more freedom of choice to send their children to schools that score well, including private schools, a controversial idea that some in Congress oppose. But Congress may buy another Bush proposal to help create a new model school in every congressional district throughout the country. And every member of Congress could claim credit by voting for schools that would use the latest technology and teaching methods. This Democratic governor credits Bush with new thinking.
The idea of creating new schools from the ground up is something that's different.
Bush's new education secretary, Lamar Alexander, gets high marks from Congress, which had little or no confidence in the man Alexander replaced. But Alexander admits the federal government can do little to help chaotic school districts, as in Washington State, where 21,000 teachers went on strike for more pay, or Richmond, California, where schools face bankruptcy.
If we are trying to transform the way America thinks about education and the results of children and adults, then those results are going to take a while.
President Bush said today he will try to set a good example by learning how to work a computer, something he admits many children can do, but he can't. Tom?
Thank you, John. And NBC's Andrea Mitchell is on Capitol Hill now, where the administration's big push on crime in the streets was launched today. Andrea, what's going on there?
Tom, it's going to be a lot more difficult for the president to get what he wants on crime than education. So today he offered Congress the hint of a compromise on gun control. Well, sort of. At first, Attorney General Dick Thornburgh seemed ready to bargain. The president might accept a ban on some U.S.-made semi-automatic assault rifles and a waiting period before handguns could be purchased if Congress passed his crime bill. But Thornburgh would not promise that the president would sign gun control measures.
I know you don't want them. I know you'll try to keep them off, and I respect that. But if you lose and they're attacked, are we going to have a deal?
Mr. Chairman, you know me well enough to know I don't write blank checks. I would want to see that legislation.
Supporters of handgun controls had taken heart when Ronald Reagan endorsed a waiting period known as the Brady Bill. But Thornburgh said unless Bush gets everything he wants, no Brady Bill.
General, am I correct in assuming that if the Brady bill is sent to you as a single item, a single issue, that you would recommend a veto of that bill?
The President has stated that he is not interested in partial solutions to the problem of violent crime.
Does that mean a veto?
Yes.
Why do you need an overall comprehensive assault on common crime in order to stop people from buying guns who are criminals today?
Democrats are themselves divided on gun control. Leaders in both houses have opposed the Brady Bill. But on other elements of the crime bill, the Democrats and Bush are both proposing to greatly expand the death penalty. But they differ on legal rights for defendants and convicted criminals, and on white-collar crime.
When is the Justice Department going to get tough on white-collar criminals?
Senator Kennedy, this department does not bend to pressure from big business or anyone else.
Some Democrats suspect that Bush would rather fight to a draw over crime than win in order to gun them down with the issue in the next election campaign. Tom?
Thank you, Andrea. When Nightly News continues in a moment, the United Nations and Iraq agree on refugee camps as the American troops deal with the current emergency. And tonight's Daily Difference, crime and punishment. What another war brought to America. Ruthless Vietnamese gangs.
I am a car maker. Making cars friendlier to the environment is something I think about a lot.
One answer is more fuel-efficient cars.
We're also working on alternative fuels, like our Impact, designed to be the first really practical electric car with enough zip for the California freeways.
25 GM cars today put out the same amount of tailpipe emissions as one car from 1970. Now that's progress.
If you're looking for a great vacation, I've got just the place. Take a 3, 4, or 7-day fun ship vacation on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
Hi, what'd you bring back?
Diarrhea.
Of course, you forgot your kaopectate.
Advanced formula kaopectate. Just one dose helps relieve diarrhea fast.
Next time, I won't forget the kaopectate.
Guaranteed to stop diarrhea fast.
Iraq today moved to come to grips with that massive refugee problem it created. 2 million Iraqis driven from their homes. In Baghdad, an agreement with the United Nations to establish refugee relief centers along routes home from the border areas where they have fled. The vast majority, of course, of Iraq's refugees are Kurds. America's plan to set up camps for them in northern Iraq will begin soon. But for now, the U.S. and its allies are getting an idea of just how massive this problem is. NBC's Mike Betcher.
The lone Turkish soldier didn't stand a chance. He abandoned his post on top of the bread truck. The refugees barely noticed the American helicopter which passed overhead. The U.S. is watching closely and learning because soon feeding hundreds of thousands of refugees will be an American, British, and French problem. The Turks will be glad when that day comes. Already, the three allies have learned that bread scattered from the back of a helicopter reaches more people than bread distributed from a truck or dropped from an airplane. The solution to other problems is more complex. For example, how to convince the refugees to come down from the mountains and move to new camps inside Iraq.
No one is using this trail to return home. The refugees still have many questions they want answered. How will they get there? Will there be food when they arrive? And will they be safe?
The Nazarki clan occupies a collection of shelters in the Chukurja refugee camp. Theirs are the last tents along the trail leading back into Iraq. They haven't seen any other refugees rush toward the direction of the proposed new camps. But several members of the family are very ill. They have decided that they must move down the mountain and have confidence that the Americans will protect them.
Can you ask them how many would go?
All are saying we will go if, as you said, Americans are going to protect them and save the food.
Anything must be better, they believe, than the harsh mountain camps. Mike Betcher, NBC News, on the Turkey-Iraq frontier.
The tragedy of Iraq's refugees seems so vast, so impersonal. The question is, what can any one person do? A lot, it turns out. NBC's Robin Lloyd tonight with a Red Cross volunteer on the Iraq-Kuwait border.
Where's Bobby?
The call is for Dr. Bobby Hamilton, but it's too late. The baby wrapped inside this blanket has died.
Do we have a thermometer, Steph? Let's get his temp. He doesn't feel that high.
This is home now for the woman the refugees call simply Dr. Bobby.
You get other language. Yeah.
She and 10 nurses, all American Red Cross volunteers, are helping take charge of a refugee camp with 10,000 people and growing. Little sanitation and no regular water supply.
The problem with my new baby, she needs medical, she needs new clothes, she needs milk, clean water.
Bobby Hamilton says she and the nurses will stay even when American troops have gone.
Well, the UN forces will be here, and we feel really safe and very well protected.
One of the big problems for these American Red Cross volunteers is the growing number of injuries from explosions. The Iraqi army scattered mines throughout this area and left behind grenades and mortars.
Well, 2 adult males picked up a rocket 2 days ago, and one blew off part of a hand and the other half of his face. And the only thing we can do here is stabilize him, stop the bleeding, put some IVs in, and send him to the hospital.
This young boy, a victim of an accidental explosion, may lose his eye. Sickness, hunger, and worry. A never-ending line standing outside the American doctor's tent.
One now, one just that much tonight.
But amid all this pain, there is joy. A newborn baby boy. His mother has placed a key around his neck for good luck. A key of life and hope.
There we go. Okay, tell her that he's going to be fine. When I leave here, I'll feel like I've really lost something, and that's a good feeling.
Robin Lloyd, NBC News, on the Iraqi-Kuwaiti border.
Secretary of State James Baker is back in Jerusalem tonight for more Mideast peace talks. He'll meet tomorrow with Prime Minister Shamir.
If you don't have AT&T 800 service and trouble hits, who knows how long you could be out? Only AT&T automatically protects you through the 800 assurance policy. With AT&T, you would be guaranteed back in touch in 30 minutes or less. With anyone else? Who knows? But if you do have AT&T, your 800 service is guaranteed. That's not all. Since AT&T connects calls 25% faster and has the fewest block calls, more 800 calls get through, so you can make more sales. With all that, why choose any other 800 service? Better service, better results. Another AT&T advantage. Call now for free installation.
I consider myself a perfectionist. That's why I wear no-nonsense pantyhose, because they look great and can last through an entire concert without a snag. Now that's perfection.
No nonsense, the pantyhose that lasts.
We're about to prove a simple point. On the left, a steak wrapped in saran wrap. On the right, both Reynolds and Glad wraps. Now, knowing a tiger won't eat what a tiger can't smell, which one do you think holds in odor and freshness better? Saran wrap.
Our Daily Difference report tonight, crime and punishment. A Vietnam War of a different kind in this country. Vietnamese refugees who settled here are being terrorized by other Vietnamese. NBC's Keith Morrison in California.
Man who's Vietnamese?
Yeah.
She is a victim, and she's terribly frightened. A few moments ago, in broad daylight, under the noses of police, her purse was snatched. She is persuaded to drive by in the back of a police car to identify her attacker. She is in fear for her life, but she does it, and it's a victory. There haven't been many.
People are coming forward giving us information. They don't want to go to court. They don't want to prosecute. They don't want to testify. They're still afraid of the gangs.
It is a frightening incongruity. Here in prosperous Orange County, in middle-class Garden Grove,
No problems tonight?
150,000 Vietnam refugees came for freedom and found terror from the gangs.
You know how cheap boys dress, right? You know who cheap boys are, right?
They call themselves Chinatown Kids, Chain Gang, Oriental Boys, and girls. They are audacious and notoriously violent. This was caught by a security camera. A gang bursts in, sprays the restaurant with gunfire. The maitre d' blasts back with a shotgun. Patrons scatter. And as the gang retreats, a member spots a tip on a table and takes it. Coup de grace. And nobody saw a thing. They plan their crimes at video arcades and billiard halls. The gangs know the culture. They know the Vietnamese keep valuables at home. Home invasion, therefore, a favorite, often brutal crime. This family was held at gunpoint for hours, robbed, terrorized. None of them would dare talk.
A perfect crime is the crime that not being reported to the police. Since the crime not being reported to the police, how can the police solve?
Tien Cao is one of just a handful of former Vietnamese refugees ready to cast their lot with the police. He tries to persuade Vietnamese businesses not to pay the extortion on which the gangs feed. But the businessmen are suspicious of American justice, and the gangs live the fantasy violence of the movies. Their Americanization plays like a nightmare. They imitate the cars and clothes and bravado of Vietnam GIs, though most of them are young enough to have been born here. Yet they're sucked into gangs that are still playing out some kind of war.
Not turf they're after. They murder for money.
They're so mobile. They can be in Garden Grove today, San Jose tomorrow, Texas.
Or in New York, where they attack the innocent and each other, where they use names like born to kill, a phrase borrowed from Marines in Vietnam. They have seen the violent side of America, and their understanding of the freedom this country offers is bizarre. Keith Morrison, NBC News, Garden Grove, California.
Also tonight, the Palm Beach, Florida State Attorney has asked for a court ruling on whether he can prosecute news organizations, including NBC News, that identified the woman who says she was raped at the Kennedy estate. Florida has a law prohibiting the disclosure of the names of sex crime victims.
A few small towns in western Pennsylvania have produced more football legends than any other place. Dan Marino, Johnny Unitas, George Blanda. What is it about these towns that gives birth to such greatness? The very things that drive us at Ford. When leadership is in your blood, you push yourself to even greater heights. In fact, starting right now, you'll be seeing more new models and exciting innovations from Ford than you've seen in years. Ford Motor Company.
The same medicine found in the prescription drug Motrin. The same medicine found in the prescription drug Motrin.
Same as in Motrin in non-prescription strength.
The same medicine found in the prescription drug.
Did you ever notice that a lot of pain relievers seem to be saying the same thing? Well, if you want the same medicine found in the prescription drug Motrin, wouldn't it just be simpler to ask for Motrin IB? Non-prescription strength Motrin IB. You can't buy a more effective pain reliever without a prescription. Motrin IB. Accept no alternatives.
So, I'm having breakfast with my buddies, and I order Kellogg's Bran Flakes. And right away, Scott says, "Problem, Dad?" Truth is, Kellogg's Bran Flakes taste terrific. It's this nutty, toasted wheat taste, and hey, come on, right, they're Kellogg's, right? So, I lean over to Scott, look him right in the eye, and I say, "Did you know a spoon can be a deadly weapon?" Oh, yeah. Oh, double good Kellogg's Bran Flakes, toasted taste to you.
All in favor of garden grip tools with the comfortable foam cushion handles. Garden Grip Lawn and Garden Tools by True Temper. We make yard work easy to handle.
Get the right mower for your yard right now at Sears. This Craftsman 3.5 horsepower rear discharge mower and this Craftsman 4 horsepower side discharge mower are on sale for under $200 each. Hurry to Sears.
It's the kind of letter that no parent would want to receive. A letter from a child's dentist who admits that he has AIDS. Such a letter, however, has gone out from a Florida dentist who had 750 patients. He's now ended his practice. NBC Science correspondent Robert Bazell tonight.
14-year-old Heather Measle just had an AIDS test. Diana Zafiros is considering a test for her son. Both children were patients of Robert Engel, an orthodontist with 2 offices in South Florida.
We've all been advised to have our children tested.
Today, hundreds of children were being tested at this hospital and other clinics. Some kids and their parents were scared.
My mom's very worried. She's very upset.
Well, I was totally shocked and scared.
Last year, the federal government concluded that David Acker, another Florida dentist, had infected Kimberly Bergalis and 2 other patients with AIDS. Despite the other Florida case, many patients in these communities appear quite calm. Some seem more worried about the orthodontist than the very slight possibility that he may have infected their children.
He was so careful. He wore his gloves. He wore his mask. He always changed his gloves. I mean, still don't have any fear to getting AIDS.
If he was still practicing, I'd let him finish. My daughter.
I just love to give him a hug. Let him know we care.
But for those who are scared, West Palm Beach lawyer Robert Montgomery is signing up clients.
I'm well known all over the United States now.
Montgomery says he made millions as his fee in a successful lawsuit filed by Kimberly Bergalis. He keeps a Rolls Royce outside of his office, and he wants to represent children who are not infected, just worried they might have been.
There are going to be children who are more sensitive, I'm sure, that can't sleep, that are worried about whether or not they're going to have AIDS. What is the incubation period? How many times is it going to be tested?
And that entitles them to a financial settlement?
Under the Florida law, it will.
Civil rights and gay rights groups say the threat of lawsuits is likely to make other healthcare workers who are infected with the AIDS virus think very hard before they tell their patients. Robert Vizell, NBC News, West Palm Beach, Florida.
Here's a quick check of other news tonight. The rail strike is history after President Bush signed emergency legislation ending the day-long walkout. The bill established a special board to deal with disputed issues. The issue for 31 bowlers in California, how to split their share of that $119 million lottery jackpot. They held one of 10 winning tickets. And today was supposed to be a happy day for the Chicago White Sox, their first game in the new Comiskey Park. Tonight, they're hoping the new park isn't cursed. Final score, Detroit 16, White Sox nothing. This is National Education Week, and as the President and the country look ahead to a better day in American education, perhaps there's something to be learned by looking into the past. NBC's national correspondent is Bob Kerr.
Back to school, the hallways and classrooms echo with memories of 1961. It's been 30 years since they walked this hallway together. For them and for Roosevelt High School in Washington, D.C., much has changed. Voted the most popular girl in her class, Sharon Pratt Dixon liked dancing to Little Anthony and the Imperials and had to study 5 hours a night just to get C's.
The assumption was on the part of a number of the counselors that I just didn't have what it takes to be a college student. However you want to read it, I took it as them writing me off.
But Helen Blackburn did not write off Sharon or her other history students.
I felt things should not be made too simple, too easy, but rather that students should be required to reach a bit, stretch themselves up.
It was just her presence, her demeanor. She, as they say, took a room. She had high standards, and she made us want to live up to her standards. We didn't want to disappoint her.
By senior year, Sharon, with Mrs. Blackburn's encouragement, was an all-A student. And she never forgot her former teacher.
I, Sharon Pratt Dixon.
Not even on the day last January when she was sworn in as mayor of the District of Columbia.
And I was encouraged to pursue my dreams by my homeroom teacher right here at Roosevelt High School, a teacher who for me made all of the difference, Mrs. Helen Blackburn.
Now retired, Helen Blackburn isn't sure whether, if she were still teaching, she could still make a difference.
It's a much more permissive atmosphere. Things are allowed and even condoned now, which would never have been allowed when I was teaching school.
I mean, you were terrified of violating the rules of the teacher, and my goodness, if you ended up in the principal's office, I mean, that's the worst fate possible. You could also spank them then. I think that kind of authority needs to be restored, starting at the earliest possible age, back into the school system.
In her new role as mayor, Sharon Pratt Dixon has to deal with the problems of a troubled public school system. And she continues to look to Helen Blackburn for ways to bring values they shared 30 years ago to today's students. Bob Kerr, NBC News, Washington.
Wall Street today, the Dow Industrials slipped back under the 3,000 mark after Wednesday's record close.
If the chalky taste of your antacid makes it harder and harder to take, now there's new Mylanta Cherry and Cool Mint Creams, the best tasting antacids, blended creamier for a non-chalky taste.
No wonder my doctor said Mylanta. These days, there are more pain relievers than ever. But last year, more people switched to Tylenol gel caps than any other. Extra strength Tylenol gel caps. Concentrated, powerful, easy to swallow. Join the switch to Tylenol gel caps.
Your competitor is after the same job you are. Their proposal is similar to yours, but they own a Canon color laser copier, and you don't. Who would you give the job to? Canon color laser copiers. You can't afford to be without one.
Now's the time for Centrum Silver, because you're over 50 and you're out there swinging. Centrum Silver, a complete vitamin formula for your changing nutritional needs. Centrum Silver, it's a great time to be silver.
Buongiorno. I'm in Italy enjoying one of the true specialties of Italian cuisine, the New York Strip. Perfecto. Boy, feels like I'm in the USA. Beef, real food in Little Italy. New York.
Now the Miracle-Gro No Clog 2. It's 3 feeders in one. It's a soft and gentle feeder for delicate flowers. It's a wand feeder for hanging baskets and hard-to-reach plants. It's a fast feeder for lawns and shrubs. The new No Clog 2 feeder.
Hey, what happened to your gray hair? You noticed, huh? Well, I did have it too, but I worried about it looking phony. Does mine look phony? It looks natural. How'd you do it? Clairol Option. Clairol Option? Clairol Option for men. Clairol knows natural-looking color, and there's no pouring and mixing. My hair even feels thicker. So how long is it going to take me to look like your twin again? Just 5 minutes. That easy.
Clairol Option for men.
You were right. You know something? If you're going to do it right.
Here we go again. Another fight for the heavyweight championship of the world tomorrow night in Atlantic City. And as NBC's Mike Leonard tells us tonight, one of the fighters takes that description, heavyweight, very seriously.
We interrupt these pictures of a young, determined athlete to bring you this important message.
Youth and enthusiasm, that's great, but age and craftiness should never be doubted.
The gospel according to a 43-year-old preacher named George Foreman, a preacher with a past. 20-some years ago, with a heart of stone, fists like cement, and an Olympic gold medal, George Foreman began his brief but menacing reign. He rudely knocked the heavyweight crown off Joe Frazier's head, only to lose it himself a year and a half later to Muhammad Ali. Another defeat led to a post-fight vision of death and a conversion to a more peaceful way of life. Retiring from the sport in 1977, Foreman built a church, then a youth center.
He married 5 times, fathered 7 children, including 4 sons named George. And of course, he ate and ate and ate, ballooning to well over 300 pounds.
I live every day. I never try to exist. I mean, by eating food that doesn't taste good and all of that, I'm not going to do it. When you see me, if I want to eat a hamburger, I'm going to go and have me a cheeseburger because I love it.
But food costs money. So do churches and gymnasiums. Tired of begging for contributions, George Foreman opted for a more aggressive approach to fundraising. He returned to boxing, and now, after whipping all 24 of his opponents, he's on the verge of a title fight in Atlantic City against the 28-year-old champion Evander Holyfield. Foreman trains with an axe and sometimes a fishing pole. Holyfield with a team of fitness experts. Up early, the young one works himself into a lather just to stay young, while the old one...
You know, I get up out of the bed every day thankful that I got up.
That kind of attitude has turned Foreman into a folk hero, the people's choice. Imagine if he somehow won. Imagine his example.
I would decree that all doctors stop talking about cholesterol and we all have a banana split.
Mike Leonard, NBC News, Houston.
That's Nightly News for this Thursday night. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Socialite lover shoots diet doc. The headline said murder, the jury said guilty, and Gene Harris went to jail. Most killers would be out by now, but Gene Harris is still inside.
I'm being treated as though I were one of the most dangerous, vicious women in the state of New York.
Don't miss Real Life with Jane Pauley, a 1-hour special, Sunday at 8, 7 Central.
I'm Catherine Couric. Tomorrow morning on Today, teleconferencing, the new cost cutter for big business.
I'm Joe Garagiola. We'll have the photographs of Ann Leibovitz and George Foreman's title quiz.
Tomorrow morning on Today. I'm Kathy Smith.
And I'm Pete Schulberg. Next on News 8 at 6 o'clock. Our top story, just how safe is Portland's blood supply? The recent scares left a lot of people concerned, but is it justified or just...